I used to think the human mind exaggerates fear in the dark, that shadows only feel alive because our brains are built to find faces where there are none. I believed that until the night something in my room breathed back at me. It happened at 2:17 a.m. I woke without knowing why. No nightmare. No sound. Just a sudden awareness that the air felt wrong, heavier, colder, as if the room had been underwater a moment before I opened my eyes. Then I heard it. A slow, dragging inhale. A broken, rattling exhale. Breathing. Inside my bedroom. I didn't move. Didn't turn my head. I told myself it was the vent, the window, the fridge down the hall. Anything normal. But the breathing grew louder, closer, too close. And then a voice whispered behind my ear, low enough that it vibrated through the pillow. "You're awake." My blood turned to ice. The mattress dipped at my legs, inch by inch, as if someone was climbing onto the bed with careful, deliberate weight. The sheets tightened around my ankles. I still couldn't turn, couldn't breathe. The darkness felt thick, like someone else was inhaling the oxygen before I could. The presence leaned closer. Its breath was warm against my cheek. "Found you." The weight vanished, but not the presence, because the breathing started again, from inside my closet, and something inside it moved. True stories from people who survived supernatural attacks. The breathing from the closet didn't stop. If anything, it deepened, slow, deliberate, patient, like whatever was in there knew I was awake, and was waiting for me to acknowledge it. For several seconds, I didn't move. I lay frozen in the dark, listening, counting each inhale and exhale like it was a timer ticking down to something I didn't want to face. My phone was on the nightstand inches from my hand. Calling someone felt pointless. Who do you call at 2:20 a.m. to report breathing inside your closet? A friend. They'd laugh. The police. I'd sound insane. The breathing stopped again. Not gradually. Instantly. As if someone clamped a hand over its own mouth. Then gently, almost politely, the closet door creaked. Just a shift. A hinge tightening. But it was enough to jolt me upright, my back pressed to the headboard, sheets clutched in my fists. I whispered into the dark. "Hello?" A soft, wet voice answered through the sliver of the open door. "Don't." I tasted metal on my tongue. Fear has a flavor. Coppery, stale, like old blood. I slid off the bed, inching backward toward the light switch by the door. Every movement felt loud. My own breathing felt like it could give me away. The air pressed against me, heavy and damp, carrying a faint smell of soil, and something else. Something rotten. "Who's in there?" My voice cracked. Silence. For a moment, I wondered if it had been sleep paralysis, a hallucination, the remnants of a dream. My mind screamed for a rational explanation. I clung to it like a life raft. But then the closet door moved again. This time wider. A hand, thin, gray, fingers too long to be human, slid out along the floor. It didn't reach for me. It simply rested there, palm down, as if feeling the carpet, learning the texture. I couldn't breathe. The lights flicked on. But I hadn't touched the switch. The hand snapped back into the closet so fast it blurred, the door slamming shut with a force that rattled the picture frames on my walls. The room was empty again. No breathing. No movement. Just the bright, sterile light and my pulse pounding so hard it hurt. I stood still for a long time, waiting for something else to happen. Nothing did. Eventually, I opened the closet door. Clothes. Shoes. Boxes. The normal chaos of my life. Nothing else. It took almost 15 minutes for my hands to stop shaking enough to dial a number. Not the police. Not a friend. I called my older brother, Daniel. When he finally answered, groggy and annoyed, I whispered, "Someone was in my room." There was a pause. "What do you mean was?" I don't know. It's gone." But Daniel, it breathed. It talked. It sat on my bed. His voice sharpened instantly. "Did you see who it was?" I saw a hand. Another pause. Longer. "What did it look like?" "It wasn't." A shiver ran down my spine. It wasn't human. He exhaled, long and heavy. Is the door locked? Yes. Good. Listen to me carefully, he said, his tone shifting into something I didn't recognize, something afraid. Pack a bag. Come stay with me tonight. What? No. You're 2 hours away. Then leave the apartment. Go to a hotel. Just get out of that room. You don't even know what happened. I know enough, he said. Just trust me. His urgency scared me more than anything in the closet had. Daniel, have you heard of something like this happening before? He didn't answer at first. When he did, his voice was quiet. Yes. A cold wave ran through me. What do you mean, yes? Just get somewhere safe, he said. I'll explain when you're here. I'm not driving 2 hours in the middle of the night. Then get out of that room, he repeated, each word sharp, controlled. Now. A faint knock came from the closet. Just one. My throat closed. Daniel must have heard my breath itch. What was that? He asked. I stared at the closet door. My hand trembled around the phone. It knocked, I whispered. Daniel cursed under his breath. Leave. Right now. Don't grab anything else. Go. I took one shaky step toward the bedroom door. Another knock came from the closet. This time louder. Please. Daniel's voice cracked. Just go. I didn't argue again. I bolted. I left the lights on, left the closet closed, left the room behind me. I grabbed my keys, pulled on shoes with shaking hands, and slammed the front door behind me so hard the hallway echoed. Outside, the night smelled clean and cold. Real. I forced myself to breathe, to think, to believe that whatever had been in my room couldn't follow me into the open air. I made it halfway down the stairs before my phone buzzed again. A text from Daniel. 4 words. It knows you left. I stopped cold. A soft voice whispered behind me, so close I felt the breath on my ear. Don't run. I ran down the stairwell without looking back, each step echoing as if someone else was descending behind me. The whisper, "Don't run," lingered in my ear, though I didn't hear footsteps, didn't feel a presence. But the memory of its breath stayed warm against my skin. Outside, the parking lot lights flickered. Every shadow felt too deep, too still. My car sat under the lone functional bulb, a circle of weak yellow light that barely pushed back the dark. I forced myself to walk toward it, one step at a time. The night air felt heavier than usual, like it clung to me. My phone vibrated with another message from Daniel. Don't look behind you. Get in the car. Lock the doors. My lungs froze mid-breath. I didn't think. I obeyed. I fumbled with the keys, got the door open, threw myself inside, slammed it shut, and hit the lock button repeatedly until I heard the mechanical click. I sat there panting, staring through the windshield. The street was empty, but I didn't check the rearview mirror. I couldn't. Not after Daniel's warning. The engine struggled before turning over. I pulled out of the lot, hands trembling around the wheel. My phone buzzed again, call this time. Daniel. I answered on speaker. What's happening? What did you mean it knows I left? You shouldn't have been alone there, he said. I should have told you sooner. Told me what? He didn't speak at first. When he did, his voice sounded older, worn. This has happened before. My stomach tightened. To who? To Mom. I almost swerved. Mom. What are you talking about? She died from an aneurysm. No, he cut in. That's just what they wrote on the certificate. I felt the blood drain from my face. Daniel. What really happened? He exhaled shakily. Not over the phone. Just get here. Daniel. He interrupted again. Listen carefully. If you hear breathing that isn't yours, don't respond to it. If it speaks, don't answer. And whatever you do. The call cut out. Static swallowed the line. Daniel. More static. Then. Saw you leave. Not Daniel's voice. Lower. Wet. Familiar. I hung up fast, my breath catching in my chest. The car filled with a pressure, like something unseen squeezed the air around me. My headlights flickered. The dashboard lights dimmed. The radio, though off, hissed with faint white noise. Then, from the back seat, fabric shifted. I froze. No voice this time. No breathing. Just a soft, slow pressure, as if someone leaned forward. I kept driving. Not faster, just steady. If I accelerated, I felt like panic would take over and I'd lose control. The road ahead looked endless, swallowed by darkness. My eyes stayed forward. My hands clenched the wheel. For a long minute, nothing else moved. Then, the faintest whisper. Left at the next turn. My pulse spiked. It wasn't Daniel's voice, but it was trying to mimic him. I didn't turn. The whisper came again, closer. Left. Go left. I kept straight. Then, sudden and sharp, a voice yelled behind me. Left. I jumped, the car swerving slightly. Tears sprang to my eyes. Not from sadness, from sheer animal fear. I didn't look back. I forced my gaze forward, knuckles white on the steering wheel. Not listening, I whispered to myself. I'm not listening. Not listening. The thing in the back seat grinned. I didn't see it, but I felt it. The air shifted, as if teeth had parted, as if something had widened its mouth in amusement. Good, it whispered. Don't. A chill rolled down my spine. It sounded pleased, almost entertained. For the next hour, the car stayed silent. No breathing. No movement. Nothing. A suffocating quiet that made me question everything I'd experienced. Maybe adrenaline was driving hallucinations. Maybe lack of sleep. Maybe. The thing spoke again, soft, curious. Do you know why I found you? I swallowed. Hard. It laughed. Quiet, broken, a sound like wet gravel dragged across metal. Your mother screamed louder. My heart lurched. No, I whispered involuntarily. The temperature dropped. Frost formed on the edges of the windshield, creeping inward in delicate branching patterns. It whispered. She opened the door when I knocked. A sob broke out of me. I didn't want to believe it. I didn't want it to be real. But a memory rose unbidden. Me, age 9, hearing my mother talking to someone when no one else was home. Her voice low, cracking with fear. I'd asked her about it. She'd said, "Just an old fear, baby. It can't come back." I'd forgotten that moment. Or maybe I'd repressed it. As the road curved through a forest highway, the trees pressed close on both sides. Their branches hung low, like skeletal hands reaching inward. My headlights flickered again, and then died completely. Blackness swallowed the road. I slammed the brakes and the car skidded to a stop. My breath fogged the air. Behind me, the thing leaned forward, its voice a thin, delighted hiss. This part is my favorite. I shivered violently. The forest outside was silent. Not a single insect. No wind. No rustling leaves. Just a dead, hollow stillness. With shaking fingers, I reached for my phone to turn on the flashlight. It buzzed in my hand. A text notification from Daniel. I opened it. A single sentence. Do not stop the car. It's stronger in the dark. My stomach flipped. I whispered, too late. Behind me, the thing exhaled slowly, savoring the fear bleeding off me. He remembers, it murmured. Good. The phone vibrated again. Another message from Daniel. If the lights went out, do not open the door. Another vibration. Do not look behind you. And then one more. It learned your name. I didn't understand at first. Then my phone lit up with another message. Not from Daniel. Faraz. Sent from an unknown number. Cold spread through my arms, down my chest, settling heavy in my stomach. The thing whispered. Say it. I shook my head violently. No. Say it. It repeated, voice brushing the back of my neck. Let me hear how it sounds from you. I clenched my teeth, forcing myself not to speak, not to turn, not to answer. Because deep down I felt it. Answering it felt like opening a door, inviting it in, letting it inside something deeper than my home. The thing shifted, moving closer. Your mother lasted longer. A sharp, involuntary sound left me. A choked cry. Tears blurred my vision. The thing inhaled deeply, savoring it. Fear smells the same in every generation, it whispered. Something in me snapped. I threw the car in reverse, foot slamming the accelerator. The engine screamed, tires skidding, gravel flying. The car shot backward onto the dark road. The headlights flickered back on, bright, almost blinding. The back seat was empty. No one. Nothing. But the pressure in the air didn't leave. It had just shifted. I slammed the car into drive and sped forward. I didn't know where I was going. Just away. My phone rang. Daniel again. I answered instantly. "Don't hang up," he said, breathless. "I'm tracking your location. I'm halfway to you." "Daniel," I gasped. It was in my car. It talked. "I know," he interrupted. "I told you. Mom dealt with the same thing. You need to tell me what's happening." He was silent for a long time. Long enough that I thought the call dropped. Then he spoke. "Mom wasn't sick," he said quietly. "She wasn't hallucinating. She didn't die in her sleep. She was attacked." The word hung in the air, thick and unbelievable. "What do you mean attacked?" "There's something that follows our bloodline," he said. "A presence. A parasite. I don't know what to call it. But she spent her whole life trying to keep it away from us." "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because it only goes after one of us at a time," he said. "And it already chose me years ago." I almost stopped breathing. "Daniel, what happened to you?" He hesitated. Then a quiet confession. "I survived." A cold shiver rolled through me. "Then why is it after me now?" "Because," he whispered, "I made a deal." The road stretched ahead, empty and dark. My hands trembled around the wheel. "What kind of deal?" I asked, voice barely stable. "The kind that buys time," he said. "But everything has a cost." The car's interior dimmed again. My breath came out in fog. "Daniel, what did you give it?" Another silence. Then, "A promise. When the time came, you would be the one it takes." The world seemed to tilt. My throat tightened, breath coming in sharp, painful bursts. "You knew," I whispered. "You knew it would come for me." He didn't deny it. "I was a kid," I said, voice cracking. "You were supposed to protect me." "I tried," he said, and his voice broke in the middle. "I tried every day. But it never stops. It always comes back. It wants something from us, for us. Something only we have." I wiped tears from my eyes with the back of my hand. "What does it want?" Daniel's voice was barely audible. "It wants your name." I froze. "What?" "It doesn't just want to speak it," he said. "It wants to take it. If you say its name, you open a door. But if it gets yours, truly gets it, then it becomes you." My skin crawled. "Keep driving," Daniel said urgently. "I'm 30 minutes away. Meet me at the old gas station on Route 9. Don't stop. Don't talk to it. Don't answer anything you hear." "I won't. Faraz." His voice softened. "No matter what happens, don't give it your name." The phone clicked. Call ended. I gripped the wheel, knuckles white, breath shaking. My headlights carved two thin lines into the dark road. Each passing tree felt like a shadow leaning closer. Then, a figure appeared ahead, standing in the middle of the road. Tall, thin, head tilted. I slammed on the brakes. The car skidded sideways, tires screaming, stopping just feet away from it. The figure didn't move, didn't flinch. It simply stood there watching. My phone vibrated in my lap. A new text. From Daniel. "Do not stop." Another message. "If you see anyone, it is not me." A chill tore through my spine. Slowly, the figure lifted its head. Its face was wrong. Too long, features stretched thin, mouth wide as if carved into its skin. It whispered my name without its lips moving. Faraz. The voice wasn't human. It wasn't even close. But it knew the shape of my name. Knew how to twist it. I locked the doors, shifted into reverse. And the figure mirrored me. Not moving, appearing. One moment standing ahead. The next inches from my window. Leaning down. Peering inside. Its breath fogged the glass. I didn't look. I couldn't. My entire body trembled violently. My phone buzzed again. Daniel. Whatever you see, it is trying to learn you. Don't let it. The thing outside dragged one long finger down the glass. Slow and deliberate. You can let me in. It whispered. Just say your name. My heart hammered against my ribs. I slammed the accelerator. The car shot backward. The figure vanished. I didn't slow. I swung the car around, gravel spraying, and sped down the road toward Route 9. The forest pressed in on both sides. The darkness felt alive. Then, a whisper from the back seat. Left at the next turn. I didn't react. Left, it urged, voice cracking with irritation. I drove straight. The thing leaned closer behind my ear. Say it. I kept breathing. Kept driving. Kept my eyes forward. The gas station lights appeared in the distance. Faint, flickering, but real. Relief flooded my chest. Until I realized something. There was a figure standing beneath the gas station lights. Not waiting. Not pacing. Just standing perfectly still. And even from here I could see its head tilt in that same unnatural angle. My phone buzzed. Daniel. I'm still 20 minutes away. Whoever you see, it is not me. A shadow moved behind me. A voice whispered. You're almost mine. The gas station glowed weakly ahead of me. Its flickering neon sign casting a sickly blue haze across the cracked pavement. At this hour, it should have brought relief, a sense of safety, a reminder that the world still had rules. But the figure standing beneath the buzzing light, tall thin head tilted still, stole every ounce of comfort the moment I saw it. It wasn't human. And it was waiting for me. My grip tightened on the steering wheel until my knuckles throbbed. I forced myself to slow the car just enough to keep control, but not enough to stop. Not this time. Not here. Not for it. My phone buzzed in my pocket. Daniel again. I put him on speaker without taking my eyes off the figure. Faraz. Are you there? Yeah, I whispered. Don't stop. Drive past the gas station. Don't look at the thing standing there. I'm close. It's here, Daniel, I said, voice shaking. It's waiting for me. I know, he said, voice tight. It'll try to confuse you. It can look like anything. Don't trust anything you see. I swallowed. What do I do? You keep moving, he said. You don't talk to it no matter what. The call dropped. Static filled the car for a moment before the radio, still off, crackled to life. A distorted voice crawled through the speakers. Look at me. I didn't. I stared straight ahead, jaw clenched. The figure stepped forward, slow, deliberate, its limbs bending too loosely, like a marionette with tangled strings. Its head tilted further until it was nearly upside down. Faraz. My heart nearly burst through my chest. I pressed harder on the gas. The car shot forward. The figure was suddenly in front of me. Not stepping, not moving, appearing. I swerved violently, tires screeching against the pavement. The car fishtailed, skidding toward the edge of the road. I jerked the wheel, fighting it, breath tearing out of me in ragged bursts. The figure brushed past the passenger window, a gray smear, a stretched grin, eyes hollow and endless. A hand slapped against the glass. I screamed. But I didn't stop. The tires caught traction again and the car lurched forward. The gas station faded behind me, swallowed by the dark trees. Everything was quiet. Too quiet. Then, a voice whispered from the back seat. You should have stopped. I didn't look back. I couldn't. I focused on the road, on breathing, on staying alive until Daniel reached me. The presence grew heavier, denser, like a shadow filling the car, pressing in around me, studying every breath I took. "You're making this harder," it whispered, its tone almost bored. "Your mother stopped sooner." Tears stung my eyes. "Shut up," I said, voice cracking. It laughed softly, a sound like dry leaves being crushed under a boot. "You don't want the truth?" "No." She didn't scream at first. She whispered. My chest tightened painfully. She begged. I slammed the brakes. The car skidded to a violent stop, throwing me forward against the seatbelt. The forest around me was pitch black, no moon, no stars, like the sky itself refused to witness what was happening. The car went silent, completely still. I sensed it behind me. Not breathing, not moving, just waiting. I stared straight ahead, shaking. "What do you want?" I whispered. Silence. Then, "You." My breath trembled. "You don't need my name," I said. "You already found me." A cold exhale brushed my neck. "Names are keys." I shut my eyes tightly. "Say yours," it whispered. "No." "Say it." "No." The temperature dropped again. Frost crawled across the inside of the windshield. "Say it." The scream rattled the windows. The car shook. The rearview mirror snapped off and clattered onto the floor. I squeezed my eyes shut. I won't." A thin, skeletal hand touched my shoulder. The skin burned where it rested, cold and blistering at the same time. "Your brother said you would." I froze. "What?" "Ask him." My phone buzzed, a call. Daniel again. Hands trembling, I answered. "Faraz," he said, voice breathless, panicked. "Don't listen to anything it says. I'm almost there. He said you told it I would say my name." "I didn't," Daniel said instantly. "I swear. It lies. It manipulates. That's how it works." But something in his voice, a crack, a hesitation, made my stomach twist. Behind me, the thing leaned closer. "Ask him," it murmured. "Daniel," I whispered. "What did you promise it?" Silence. Then, "I tried to make a deal," he said, voice breaking. "I was so scared, Faraz. I was young. I didn't know what I was doing." My heart pounded. "What did you promise?" I promised it could pick one of us. That if it left me alone." I closed my eyes. He didn't need to finish. "It chose you," Daniel whispered. "And I didn't stop it." A sob tore out of me. The thing behind me inhaled deeply, savoring my despair. "It's almost time." I slammed the door open and stumbled out into the cold night. The forest swallowed me instantly. Dark, suffocating, the trees leaning like they were listening. The interior of the car glowed faintly behind me, the thing still inside, its silhouette stretched unnaturally across the back seat. I backed away, stepping onto dead leaves and brittle twigs. My breath fogged in the air. In the distance, faint headlights. A car approaching. Daniel. I felt relief flood my chest. Until I heard a whisper behind me. "It's not him." I spun around, but there was nothing. Just darkness. The approaching headlights grew brighter. The engine hummed. The car pulled onto the shoulder, slowing next to mine. Daniel hopped out, breath showing in the cold. "Faraz!" he yelled, running toward me. "Are you okay?" I took a step back, trembling. "Prove it's you." "What?" "It's me. I've been trying to get to you for." "Prove it," I repeated, voice shaking. His face softened. He looked hurt. Human. "Faraz. I'm so sorry," he whispered. "But we don't have time. It'll try to confuse you. You have to trust me." Behind me, the thing whispered. "Trust him." My knees buckled. "Come on," Daniel said, offering his hand. "We're going to end this." He stepped forward. The forest held its breath. My pulse thundered in my ears. "Daniel," I whispered. "What was your nickname for me when we were kids?" He blinked. Confusion flickered across his face. I don't remember. My stomach dropped. You always remembered, I said, voice trembling. You called me that until you left for college. His expression shifted, pulled, stretched. His jaw loosened. His smile widened. Too wide. Names are tricky, he whispered. I stumbled backward. His body flickered like a glitch. A puppet slipping out of its disguise. The trees groaned. The wind died. Time held still. Then the thing dropped its disguise entirely. Its form unfolded like a shadow peeling itself from a wall. Tall. Bent. Limbs too long, fingers dragging the ground. No eyes. No face. Just a stretched grin splitting across a blank, pale surface. Behind it, the real Daniel's voice echoed faintly, far away. Run. The creature lunged. I turned and sprinted into the forest. Branches whipped my face. Roots clawed at my shoes. My lungs burned. Every breath was a gasp. My heart felt like it was shattering with each beat. Behind me, not footsteps gliding. The sound of fabric tearing through the air. And a whisper that followed me like a shadow. Say it, say it, say it. I ran until my legs shook, until my throat tasted of blood, until the forest thinned and an old abandoned shack emerged in the clearing. A rotting structure leaning to one side, broken windows like blind eyes. I didn't think. I dove inside. The shack was dark, choking with the smell of mold and earth. The floor creaked under my weight. The thing slid in behind me, its form filling the doorway. I pressed myself into a corner, chest heaving, every inch of me shaking. It approached slowly, savoring each step. Your name, it whispered, voice rippling through the walls. Give it. And I take the rest. I won't, I whispered. Then I take everything else. Its shadow enveloped the room. The walls bent inward. The floor bowed. The entire shack warped like it was breathing with the creature. I felt its cold fingers brush my ankle. I screamed. Faraz. Daniel's real voice. The shack exploded with white headlights as his car tore into the clearing. He sprinted inside, grabbing me by the arm and pulling me away just as the creature lunged. It shrieked, a sound like tearing metal and breaking bones. Daniel dragged me toward the car. Get in. Now. The creature slammed into the doorframe, its torso stretching unnaturally, arms reaching, fingers grazing my back. Say it. The world blurred as Daniel shoved me into the passenger seat and jumped behind the wheel. The car roared to life. He slammed the gas. The creature struck the back of the car, metal denting inward with a horrifying crunch, but the vehicle shot forward, tires spitting mud and debris. The forest blurred past. The creature ran behind us, impossibly fast, limbs whipping through the air in jagged motions. It screamed, "Your name belongs to me." The car broke onto the main road, skidding across asphalt. Daniel didn't slow. I curled into myself, shaking, sobbing, the creature's screams echoing behind us, fading, but not disappearing. Daniel kept driving until we reached a lit highway, until other cars appeared, until the world felt real again. Only then did he pull over, chest heaving. He didn't look at me. Not at first. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I'm so sorry." My hands trembled uncontrollably. "It won't stop," I said softly. "Will it?" Daniel shook his head. "No." He looked broken. Then he added, "Not until it gets what it came for." Silence. Not peaceful silence, but the kind you hear after an explosion. A ringing quiet, thick and wrong, as if the world itself is holding its breath. I didn't know how long I'd been lying on the cold floor of my hallway, half conscious, half frozen. My ears buzzed. My vision came back in blurred waves. The house felt empty. Not safe. Just emptied out. Like something had been removed from it. Like something also had been left behind. I forced myself up, each breath sharp, my ribs aching. The lights were still flickering in that slow, almost apologetic way, a house's heartbeat after trauma. The attic door stood wide open, its wooden frame splintered, clawed from the inside. I didn't want to look up. I didn't want to see if anything was staring back. So I just stood there shaking and listened. Nothing, not even my own breathing sounded like mine. I didn't sleep for 3 days. Not because of nightmares. Because I was afraid that if I closed my eyes, the attic would breathe again. I threw out the mattress first, then the pillows, then the blankets, then every shirt that had ever touched that closet door. I kept the lights on even during the day. I sat in corners so I could see the whole room. I kept my back against walls because empty space behind me felt like an invitation. But the strangest part wasn't paranoia. It was the quiet. Too quiet. The house wasn't supposed to be quiet. Old houses hum, creak, pop, complain. They have their own mechanical heartbeat. But after that night, the house sounded dead. No pipes groaning. No floors settling. No heater cycling on. As if the thing that had been haunting it had taken all the sound with it. Or maybe it was still listening. I finally went to a doctor because my chest wouldn't stop hurting. I thought maybe the thing upstairs had damaged something when it grabbed me. Bruised my ribs, crushed something when it dragged me across the floor. He checked me, ran scans, tapped a pen against his clipboard thoughtfully. "You're fine," he said. Then he paused, studying the image of my ribs. Mostly, I whispered. My voice still didn't sound like my own. He rotated the screen toward me. A faint shape. Faint pressure marks along my ribs. Not breaks. Not trauma. But indentations. Like something had been pressing on my chest, forcing the ribs inward. Finger marks. Long ones. The doctor frowned. These aren't consistent with human hands. Then consistent with what? I asked. He didn't answer. He simply turned the screen away, typed something into my chart, and said, "Get rest. And if the pain gets worse, come back." I never went back. Because the indentations weren't what scared me. What scared me was what happened when I tried to sleep again. I stayed awake until sunrise, then until noon, then until evening. I moved from room to room as if the walls might shift behind me. Every reflection made me flinch. Every shadow felt like a trap. By nightfall I had to close my eyes. Just for a moment. I lay on the couch, wrapped in a blanket that still smelled faintly of dust. I left every lamp on. I left the TV playing static because silence had begun to feel like a mouth waiting to speak. I drifted off. Maybe for 10 minutes. Maybe for 2. But I woke up because someone exhaled into my ear. Slow. Grainy. Wet. Just like before. My entire body froze again. The exact paralysis from the first night, except this time I could move my eyes. I stared straight ahead, terrified to turn my head, terrified to see who, or what was inches behind me. Then I realized something. Something worse than the breathing. The blanket wasn't draped loosely anymore. It was pulled tight around my body, pinning my arms, pinning my legs, like hands gripping the fabric. The breathing shifted, moved from behind me to directly above me. I felt it hovering, watching, waiting, and then in a voice so soft I almost thought it was inside my skull. "You thought it ended." I didn't scream. I didn't fight. I just whispered, "What do you want?" A moment of stillness. Then, with careful, delighted malice, the voice replied, "You." The blanket loosened. The presence retreated. And the room went quiet again. Too quiet. People always ask me the same thing when I tell this part. Why didn't you leave? Why didn't you move out? Why didn't you burn the house down? Simple. Because it didn't matter. I understood something that night. Not from logic, not from research, not from old legends. But from instinct. The house wasn't haunted. I was. It didn't attack the house. It didn't whisper to the closet. It didn't climb the attic stairs. It followed me. It breathed behind me. It marked me. And no matter where I went, it would only follow again. Waiting for the next quiet room. The next moment of stillness. The next time I let my guard down. Leaving the house wouldn't save me. It would just give it a new space to claim. I researched everything: folklore, demonology, sleep paralysis entities, shadow people, attic dwellers, parasitic hauntings. But the descriptions were never exact. Some came close: entities that latch onto fear, creatures that feed on attention, spirits that mimic breath or voice. But none matched the thing that climbed onto my bed, or the thing that whispered in a voice that sounded more like hunger than language. Until one night, buried deep in a late-night forum, I found a post from 2008. It doesn't haunt places. It haunts the moment you realize you're not alone. Followed by a final line: if you hear it breathe once, it will breathe again. I closed the laptop immediately. But it was too late, because the room was silent again, and I could feel something leaning toward me from behind, as if reading the screen over my shoulder. Months have passed. I sleep in short bursts. I eat without tasting anything. I walk around with the constant feeling that someone is standing behind me. Not close, not touching, just waiting. The marks on my ribcage haven't faded. Sometimes the house creaks again, but only when I'm not looking directly at the walls, as if it knows how to pretend now. But the worst part: the breathing has changed. It's not always behind me anymore. Sometimes it's on the other side of a door. Sometimes it's above me, in places no human could stand. Sometimes it's under the bed, slow and steady, as if mirroring my heartbeat. And only once, did it speak again. I had been awake for nearly 30 hours. I sat on the edge of the bed, rubbing my eyes, trying to force myself through another sleepless dawn. The room was dim. The lamp flickered. And in that thin line between exhaustion and collapse, the breathing started. Soft. Measured. Close. I whispered, "What do you want from me?" The breathing paused. Then, in a voice that felt like it came from inside my bones: "To be remembered." Then it faded into silence. And it has stayed mostly silent since. Not gone. Just quiet. Listening. Waiting. People think surviving means defeating something. They're wrong. Surviving sometimes only means that the thing let you live. Maybe it wants me afraid. Maybe it wants to wear me down. Maybe it wants something I don't understand yet. Or maybe it only needs one moment, one single second where my guard is down, to crawl out from wherever it hides and finish what it started. That's why I keep talking about it. Why I keep retelling the story. Why I keep the memory sharp. Because I realized something the night it spoke. For an entity that wants to be remembered, forgetting it might be the worst thing I could ever do. If there's anything I've learned from what happened, it's this: horror doesn't always leave. Sometimes it just watches. Sometimes it waits for stillness. Sometimes it breathes with you. And sometimes, in the dead of night, when the house settles, when everything goes still, when even the air feels hesitant, you swear you can hear another breath that doesn't belong to you. Slow, patient, hungry, just like the first night, just like right now. Because if you listen carefully, if you truly listen, you'll notice the room around you has grown quieter. Too quiet. And maybe, just maybe, something else is listening back.